You introduce yourself?
Yeah, okay. Ready to go? Okay, so you probably saw on the advert of the hub that I'm Yvonne Macrae. I've been in IT a long time. Started off in desktop and worked all my way up and ended up in SharePoint and then Office 365, which is where I've come across Sway. So anything more about me and my contact details, you can talk to me later. I just want to get the most out of this for you as possible. So first of all, I briefly mentioned to people if you've come across Sway, and most said they hadn't till now. Is that right? No one's really come across it, maybe heard a bit about it, maybe seen a little bit. So that's good because I'm no expert in Sway either. I just loved what I saw when I started using it. So basically it's a presentation tool, and I've never been any good at PowerPoint. So for me this is brilliant. So the presentation is in Sway. So this is what Sway looks like. So we'll get going. So what is Sway? So this is very wordy. So it's Microsoft web-centric presentation and a content creation tool. Now basically what Sway does, it'll leave the design to the algorithmic code behind the scenes. So whereas with PowerPoint you're trying to move pixels, trying to change font, Sway doesn't really have any of that granularity or font changing or anything like that. You kind of start putting your presentation together and Sway will start making suggestions for you, which I was just stunned at, because in PowerPoint when you're bringing pictures in and trying to do things with it and trying to then make the slides look great, to me it was just a total refreshing step forward in the presentation world. So yeah, it does genuinely feel exciting, and with Sway you can also embed it into web pages. You could embed it into SharePoint if you're using SharePoint, which I've already done and I'll show you later. The one con I'd say that I found with Sway is you can't download it. So it's web-centric, it's online, and there's 3 ways of using Sway. So that's Office 365, if any of you have heard of Office 365, it will come with your Office 365. Or you can go to sway.com and just log in, or just register and create your Sways in that way. Or there's a Windows 10 desktop app. So you can literally just go, if I show you, you can just go to sway.com and start creating Sways.
Are your Sways protected, or do they, like other programs and they're like that, other people can access them?
Yeah.
Can you keep them private?
Yes, so you can choose who you share the Sway with, which is kind of Microsoft's way forward, isn't it? It's anytime, anywhere, but also keeping the security as you want it. So Sway will work on any hosted devices. I went to a presentation not so long ago and they didn't have anything set up, no projector, nothing. And they were okay with me using my phone, but because I could access it from anywhere, I could just get a presentation up on my phone and literally still had the pointers that I had for the presentation to deliver. So it's, yeah, anytime, anywhere, you'd be able to access your Sways. But, like I say, you can't download them. So if you're in the mindset where you like to have it on your computer and you like to have it just on, you won't be able to do that. I don't know whether there's many occasions we're not online. So if you're online on your phone, 3G or 4G, or you're online on the computer, like I say, you can always access your Sway. So if you're going to deliver a presentation in Sway, even connecting to the phone and to the monitor, you could use your Sway.
Can you,
It's okay, no.
save it as a video file?
No.
And then click through it?
No. I think there's a Microsoft site, I haven't got the URL, but it's like for many Microsoft new products, you can give voice, so you can just, if you put Sway voice in, you can actually make suggestions, and a lot of people have wanted that download feature in. So, and also what it doesn't do is slideshow automatically, you have to click through it, but there's a lot of people requested the automated play. So for me, I'd like that for SharePoint, where you could have a news slider and you could use Sway just to automatically pull through the slideshow, whereas at the moment the user literally has to click along the slides. So again, comparing it to PowerPoint, that's maybe a little bit of a con for Sway, because PowerPoint you can do your slideshow and just let it run. But Sway
Save it as a PDF and print it?
can't do it. No, you're literally online at the moment.
You can't print it even from online now?
You probably could. You probably could, just the internet. Yeah. But you could, you could probably print it from Internet Explorer as usual, print, or whichever browser you're using.
But to share, couldn't you use something like Camtasia and record your screen if you wanted to have it as an internal resource?
I will come to that with Office Mix. Office Mix is good for that. Okay, so like I said before, it hasn't got much granularity like PowerPoint has, which is what I loved about it. So, yeah, the next slide is uses of Sway. So for me, it is, like we said, a presentation tool, but it could be used for blogs. You could blog when you see the storyline effect of Sway, because it basically is a storyline, a storyboard. The blog lends itself well to Sway. Web content is good because you can embed a Sway into web pages and SharePoint. You can import Word, PDF and PowerPoint files into Sway, but you can't export. So you can import, if you have a PowerPoint presentation, you could have that on your machine if you so wish, put it into Sway for the extra interactive design that you like, and use that if you wish. But then if they haven't got internet, you could then go back to the PowerPoint if you wanted to. Yeah, so you can import, and the import's actually quite lovely. We'll do one. Because Sway will decide what it wants for your import. It'll kind of think, well, I want to design that for you, and then you can just play around yourself, or you can continue to let Sway design till you're happy. So it's quite quick. So from a PDF, you can literally just get a presentation in seconds.
So when you import a PDF, do you mean it converts it to a Sway thing?
Yeah, that's right. And actually, it does it most of the time when I've used it. Like I said, I'm no expert. I haven't used it millions and millions of times, but it's been quite nice straight away. I haven't had to do much changing. But then when I imported a PowerPoint, I did have to do quite a bit of moving about. So, but I think that was my PowerPoint. Like I say, I'm not the best on PowerPoint. So creating a Sway. So I just thought up a topic, Visit Jersey. And I thought, but if anybody's got a topic they'd like to use, we can use that, and we'll create a Sway.
Is this Sway you're using at the moment?
Yeah. So it's from Office 365, you can see I'll just go to my Sway here. Has anybody got a topic apart from Visit Jersey, or is everybody happy with Visit Jersey? Yeah? Okay. So like you saw the Sway, you just create new, fairly self-explanatory. And then, first of all, enter your title, yeah? Visit Jersey. Okay, and then what I'd usually do is map out your presentation. So, I don't know, for Visit Jersey, maybe we'd have, say, next title might be, How to Get Here, maybe. How to get here. So these are called cards. In Sway, all these are cards. So you can see at the top left there, we've got where it says cards, and that's what they are called in Sway. The top it's saying it's a storyline. That's you starting your story, whatever you're going to present on or whatever you're going to blog about. So if we created it, and what I'm just doing now is just mapping it out. That's all I'm doing, and that's what I would suggest you do, just to keep your presentation on the right track. So how to get here, location, I don't know. Anybody got any burning desires to put something? Huh?
Where to eat? Places to eat.
Oh yeah, places to eat. Places, maybe accommodation. Okay, so we mapped it out with headings there. So every time you create a new heading, you see it creating a new card. That's what a heading will do. It'll create a new card every time. But if we want to now add some text, it'll keep it in the same section, because what Sway decides is that text is something to do with what we've put a heading for. because normally you'd have a heading and then you'd have some text. So Sway's keeping it in the same section, so when you get to your presentation you see the heading and then you'll see the text or the image or whatever you choose to put in there. So if you want to keep things together, just keep not using the heading. If you want to separate it out, that's when you need a heading. Okay? So if we were to put to a background picture, you can already see as soon as I've clicked on the background image to drag one on, it's already trying to preempt what I want. Yeah, jersey's always a difficult one because jersey clothing, there's jersey in America, so sometimes you might need a bit more, give it a bit more help. It can search many sources, so it suggests it can search your OneDrive, which is part of Office 365 if you've come across that, which is basically a file store within your Office 365. It can search Bing. It can search Bing because it's Microsoft products. It's not going to use Google. YouTube, Twitter. It can search where all these places for what you, or you can upload. If you have an image you really want to use, you can upload it from your computer as well. So if I just type in St. Helier. It'll start bringing pictures of St. Helier and you can just basically drag them over. So for this one, how to get here, I guess maybe EasyJet. Or an airplane or something like that. So you can just drag that image to there. And then it's already, so how quick it, you've still got to be aware of your copyright on pictures, which obviously I'm not doing for this presentation. So you'd have to be careful of the copyright issues with using pictures on the web. So then you might say flights are regular with EasyJet, Flybe, well, Blue Islands is now Flybe, isn't it? And then what you can do with your text, there's not much you can do apart from you can emphasise, which is like bold, accent is like italics. You can make it bigger using literally this button, that's all you can do. But what you can do later is design, and you can then make a design that will then have Sway decide how you want your font to be. I've spelt that wrong, but nobody minds. What we can also have is interactive maps. So if we just have a little play, show you what that looks like at the moment. This is just straight away out the box, yeah? So that's all we've got. But then if we go back to the edit, and then we ask Sway, let's see what you can offer us then. If we remix, it'll start to put some colours and start to think about, well, what else would they want to see? Well, I think that pink's not very good, really. It's not very nice for jersey. That looks quite classy. And then it'll decide, so now you can see the lettering's being put over the aircraft. So that's just Sway using algorithms to remix, but you can keep remixing and previewing. You can keep remixing as much as you want until you like the one it gives you. Or you can go back to your cards and edit them yourself as to how you want it to look. So just to go back to cards, just like that. Okay, so if we were going to I'll show you actually rather than I created one earlier. And what you can do with this, well, anything really, you can embed the map, so you can be interactive with the map. So with this one. So we play this. So the difference, I've just copied this map in. This is just an image of where Jersey is in the Channel Islands. But this map, you can actually, it's a Bing map, and we use the embed code from the Bing map, which if you go to Bing Maps and you go to share, you can then find the embed code, you just copy it into your Sway. So and Sway has the card which is called embed here. So when you put that embed card in, you just insert your code. But what that gives you is then you can interact with that map within Sway. You don't have to go back to Google or Bing Maps to interact with it. And you can do that with, what's coming soon is charts. You'll be able to do that with charts as well. You'll be able to interact with the chart rather than having to go back to the chart program and work with it. You'll be able to do it from Sway. So like with this map, you can home in or zoom out. That's what you get with embed. Okay, and there's lots of things you can embed. You can embed YouTube videos. So we have, when I went to the Visit Jersey one, so I just on YouTube, search for Visit Jersey and embedded the video. So from YouTube, again, you just share, get the embed code and pop it in, and then it'll just give you the video, which is within the Sway. Yeah. So that's just another way of embedding videos within, and you can interact like it's just done. Just stop the video, play the video from within Sway. Yeah, and these are just images. And then what to do, again, just images. You can add links in, so within the card. Within the cards, when you click on you can either insert content here and just pull the card in, or you can insert content with a little plus, and you can add, so if you add the heading card or a text card, you can add the links in there, and you just, whatever display text you want, and then your web address, and it'll come up as a usual hyperlink. So that's what I did with some of the Visit Jersey. So now we can just click on the play, go through the Sway. And then, so from there you'd then be able to click to the website without having to come out of Sway. You just automatically link to that website, and then you can go back to your Sway to see. And then accommodation, so hotels. This is another feature of Sway. What you can do is group items, and this one's called a stack. So this was just some hotels and Durrell camping of just the different kinds of accommodation we get in Jersey. And what you can do is group elements in Sway in different ways. So to group, what you can do is just select the cards like this, and then you can just group on the left hand side, and there's different ways of grouping. When it says slideshow, you would think that would mean an automatic slideshow, but it's not. You still have to, what that'll do is embed a slideshow into the card, and you've still got to click through the slideshow. Yeah, so I used a stack on that one, on the Visit Jersey one. But what's a good idea for that is if you had family holidays, photographs that you wanted to show family, you can just put them in Sway, send them the link to the Sway in email, and then you could just stack your photographs and they can just happily work through the photographs.
So if you click on one, it will come full screen.
Yeah, if it comes, you just keep clicking the top one and it'll just go round and round and round.
You've got to look at them like small,
Yeah, I haven't worked. I think you can. But yeah, you can look at them big, but to go back to the stack, you've got to go back to the. Yeah.
So you can't scroll across from the large image. You can't just go left or right.
That would be a slideshow. Right. So you go back to the Sway, and you'd group them and do a slideshow. Yeah. It's worth playing around with those groupings. The grid's actually quite nice as well for photographs, because it shows them just like it says in a grid. So let's go back. So that was just a quick, I know we've only got an hour, so it's just a real quick way of using Sway. So like I say, map it out first, then fill your content in. But as you're doing that, if we go back to our visit jersey, wherever we were, once you start filling your content in, and then what you can do is go to design. When you're happy, I would say, when you're happy with the content, then you can start looking at the designs, and this is where you get your font changes. You don't really get a lot of options with Sway. But if you remix, it will almost decide for you, and you keep remixing, and it'll just design it as you want. But eventually, you'll probably like one. But like I say, if not, you can design it yourself. So if we chose this one, it'll just use this font all the way through, because we've said specifically use this font. Another thing on pictures, if we go back to the cards, the only thing you can do with pictures is you tell Sway. You see that the options at the top change according to what the object is. So all you can do with pictures is the focus point. You can tell it to show the entire image, because it's important to show the entire image, or you can just say not to show the entire image. And Sway will decide to show a little bit. That's normally on a heading. So if we go back to a heading rather than the... Oh yeah, that was a heading. So if we just... location... Jersey map. So if you didn't click the entire image is important, it might show something like this, which the bottom left, which doesn't look all that great really. It might be okay, it might just not be important, but you might want to see all the parishes. So yeah, you'd say on that one, show the whole image. And that's what it'll do. If you remix, sometimes it'll decide to show the whole, if you've told it not to show the whole image, it might decide to show the whole image just to redesign it for you. You can change the layout, so you can decide whether it goes downwards or whether it goes across. So you can tell it there. You can tell it to have the image on the right and the text on the left. Okay. So importing to Sway, like I said before, there's only at the moment, there's only a number of programs you can use for importing to Sway. That's PDF, Word and PowerPoint, as it says here. So I'll just show you. So when I brought in a SharePoint presentation PDF, it will take a couple of minutes because it's doing all the design behind it. It's trying to decide what we want where and what will go with which part of that topic. But what it does with this one is really quite nice, because it's got a lot of images in it. It kind of grids them and it looks quite nice with not much input from me. We'll let that one work away. I'll show you in my Sway what it looked like. So this was the same one. We'll go back and I'll show you it working, but just to save some time. This was the PDF, just loaded straight in. You know, you might not like that, so you might think, actually, no, I don't want it to look like just a load of slides on a page. So again, you can just go and remix that and see what it does with it, and if you like the remix. So that's what, and then you can just keep, like I said, just keep remixing to get back to the beginning. You just need to edit. So you just need to hover above the top, and these buttons will come across. This is your sharing icon. changing the layout. What's in the options? Yeah, a few more options in there for you. And then if you edit to go back to the cards, and then again you can just remix again and just see what Sway does with it. So again, come on. So you can see different ways, but you can also make changes. That's just an import from PDF, but you can still make the changes. You still have the control. So this is just it hasn't used headings. So like we were saying before, a heading would separate them out into obviously separate headings, but this has just kept it's just been image after image after image after image, because it was probably a slideshow to start with in PowerPoint that's then been transferred to PDF. So it's just kept them in the same section. But you could then group them if you wanted and have them flying in or doing slideshows. So if we grouped 2, 3, if we then went to group that slideshow, add an image, and then play this one. I can't remember which slide it was on. It should come up with the. Let's go back. Let's see, agenda. It was after. Yeah, in Sway, there's no way of just. When you make a change, there's no way just to play this.
Looks like only one of them came down rather
Yeah,
than
then more than, yeah. So if we select a few more. Yeah, so you can just drag and drop as well. It doesn't have to just be, you don't have to select all the time. Well, she says. Oh.
It's in the slideshow now, all three of them are there at the same time.
Ah, brilliant, brilliant. So if we try to go here and play. Should come up with a little slideshow one, but it's not doing. Let's go back.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you can play with the slideshow when I don't want to. So slideshow, yeah, it's ticked. Everything is right. Play. Just one more time and see if we get the. Yeah, see, this is the slideshow. Can you see this little arrow here? Can you see it on there? You can't see it on there. Yeah, what it's showing me is a little arrow to show it's a slideshow. So not these arrows here, this is the Sway arrows, but this one's up here, it's just off the screen, showing a little arrow which shows you the slideshow, and then when you go forward, it's got the left and the right arrow. Can you see the left? No. Yeah, sorry about that, you can't see that, but yeah, the arrows will show you it's a slideshow. But it doesn't really look much different in that scenario to just a normal Sway card. But you have a play with it, put Sways in, put it into group the cards and then put them into a Sway heading or something like that, or a Sway text box, and have a look, see what you think of the slideshow. So that was directly from PDF, pulled in. There's another, so where's the one we were doing? Yeah, so this is the one that's pulled it in. This is exactly how it pulled it in. So that's the one I've just been playing with. And this is the one I pulled in just before when it was taking some time to do. And that's how it came in straight away. It just, and like I say, now you can design and start messing around with the font and whatever. Whereas with PowerPoint, you'd probably have to be pulling that in each slide, and you have to be messing around with each slide, whereas this Sway wants to do it all at once. It doesn't want you to, it's doing the design for you, it's leaving you to author and doing the design for you. Some people might like that, some people might not, and that's where your decision with PowerPoint or Sway is going to come in, really. Or there's probably a fit for both, I think. There's probably a place where PowerPoint sits still and Sway. So just one more to import from, we'll import from PowerPoint. I just pulled the presentation down off the internet, which is onboarding, which I think Sway would lend itself well to an onboarding process as well. And if you have SharePoint as your intranet or a intranet, you can then embed the Sway as an onboarding process, just to go through all the relevant bits and pieces for an induction, when a person comes on board, to make sure everything's done properly. So the first one, you'll notice it's this really long, awful kind of title. That's taking the name of the file and using it there. But again, so you wouldn't obviously keep that. You'd change it to something much nicer. So this is just coming. So if we play it, just straight away as it is imported, it maybe does look a little bit dull. So you may need to add some images to that one yourself. But if we just do a quick remix to see what we get. Straight away it's giving it some colour anyway. Yeah, it's added a bit of colour. If we remix again, that's probably quite nice for an onboarding professional. So yeah, it's just showing you how simple it is to import from PowerPoint, and quite quickly it looks fairly nice. In my opinion, it's a lot quicker than PowerPoint and probably looks a little bit more professional than PowerPoint.
May I ask you, there are many animation of the object in PowerPoint that is also translated?
Yeah, it will translate it, you'll just have to work with it. So put the animation in PowerPoint and then bring it into, well, just import the PowerPoint and see what Sway will do with it. It won't be as animated, it will not be as animated, but it'll just do what Sway's got in it. So it might do the stacking, or it might do some slideshow, it might convert it to the slideshow, or but it won't be doing the whizzing in stars and things like this. Yeah. So what do people think? Would they use it? Would you?
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's disappointing.
Really?
Honest.
Yeah.
Your presentation's great, by the way.
Yeah.
It's very primitive.
It is, and I thought the same. I thought, I'm not going to use this. It's like I can't do anything with it. But actually now I use it all the time, because it's, honestly, the amount of time you save.
It kind of importing a presentation into Sway, it seems like there's no real point in doing that.
Yeah.
You're importing something which is flexible and something which is not flexible.
Yeah.
Or yourself in a situation where
Yeah.
So I can't imagine ever pulling a PowerPoint presentation into it.
Yeah. I think for me it just looks more modern.
Yeah.
For me anyway, it just looks a bit more modern. It looks a bit more futuristic. It's got the canvases behind that it just automatically picks for you. For me, I use a lot of SharePoint, so I definitely would use this to embed into SharePoint, rather than if I go and show you my SharePoint quick site. This is a PowerPoint embedded, and this is a Sway embedded. And I just think this is much just personal preference. But like I said, I've never been great on PowerPoint, so it's up to you. And the thing is, because it doesn't scroll automatically, Sway, it can't really be used as a news feed. But if they did get that to work, which I think Microsoft are going to be looking at, it could then be. What do you think of it as a blog, for a blog? What do you think of Sway as potentially a blog?
Yeah, it could be good for that.
Yeah. I think what you need to do though is you just have a little one go with it, because like I said, when I first started, I thought this is awful. Like, it's not. I can't do anything, because you're so used to being able to do so many things.
Like, take the design out of it, I was expecting okay, it's going to take your bland slide and do something relatively primitively impressive.
Yeah.
All it's doing really is putting the colour behind it and changing the fonts.
Yeah. I mean, the ones I've used aren't great either, but you could maybe use some of your great PowerPoint or PDFs and bring them in and see what you think. But like I said, I was the same, but now I'm an addict, because the amount of time that it saves me creating all them PowerPoint slides, and for me it was just
very useful if you've got something really succinct to same
Yeah.
presentation, and you don't need.
We're in a rush.
Yeah.
You've got to update the board members right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
can
that-
actually do that in PowerPoint. You can just bring all your text into the left-hand pane,
Yeah,
and then it will actually animate for you
Yeah.
the whole presentation.
yeah,
But yeah, I can see there could be some uses for it, but
yeah. You're maybe not a convert yet.
yeah, I think that I don't know what they're thinking really, but it looks like the free version of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before you subscribe and get the
full-
pro version. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like the trial version, and then you pay your whatever it is, and it's like.
I think with anything Microsoft, especially within Office 365, what they're doing is they're getting things out there, they're getting the apps out there, and then they build on it. So they listen to what people are saying on the suggestions, and when they get X number of people saying the same thing, they then, so it's out there. For me, I'm a convert, but it took me a little bit. It did take me a little bit to get there. Just literally on the time saving. That was all. That's literally.
Rather than seeing it as a PowerPoint replacement or alternative, we see it as a way of formatting rich documents on the web.
Yeah.
And, we've just been through the process of trying to liven up the MTFP document, and this could be a cost-effective way for state's officers to take a document that is long and complex and bring it to life without having to use an external agency.
Yeah, and that. I mean, it might not be as good as what an external agency doing, but you're not having to pay then, like you say, cost effective. You're not having to pay the agency to make all these logos and bits and pieces to brand it all up. In Sway, if you were going to brand, what I would say is keep everything in one section, just have a title, then it keeps that branding at the top all on every slide, or Sway, or every card.
But then if we were embedding it in the website, then you would take the branding from the website.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Enables us just to focus on the document content itself.
I think the biggest thing is that it's anytime, anywhere, any device. That's one of the main. Like I said, I went to a presentation the other day. They didn't have anything set up, and I used my phone because I could get it up on my phone. So, that's I think where Microsoft are going with everything now. Anytime, anywhere.
Given that it's in essence marketed by the same company as PowerPoint,
Yeah.
what do they say? Where do they say it fits in?
Microsoft. Let's go back to my first slide, because mainly that was taken from. I think they see it as not an alternative to PowerPoint. I think they see both still going ahead because they're still enhancing PowerPoint with Office Mix. Office Mix fits into PowerPoint as an add-in. So they're not getting rid of PowerPoint. They've got no desire to. But let me see. I think they just see Sway as more web-based, as in you can then use your content on the web pages. You can use it for blogging quickly, storylines, quickly getting stories out there. For people who are just like Rashina was finding that death by PowerPoint, some people are spending hours a day, and for those people, Sway is just an alternative for them to use if they haven't got the time to create a good PowerPoint, I guess.
So in essence, are they marketing it as a productivity tool? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know that actually. I haven't heard. I don't think so. I think they're just adding it as an Office 365 anywhere, anytime, keep connected device, interactive. So like before we showed the Bing map, you can zoom in, zoom out interactively. They're going to bring charts into Sway where you can then interact with the chart direct. But I think it's more the anytime, anywhere, any device thing is. But you could read probably Google something like that, and there'll be. So yeah, basically I think they're marketing like this.
As opposed to something like Prezi, for example, which hits you in the face with how different it is.
Yeah, but do you not find Microsoft do that quite a bit? They take like an element of something that's already out there, like Trello, the project management tool. They've now got something called Planner, and they get it out there. It's maybe not as good, but they evolve it. So, for example,
they're followers, aren't they, in that sense? They see themselves as making significant money on catering for the mainstream rather than necessarily being
niche markets. Yeah. And I guess that's where they make their money.
They've got to disrupt themselves in that. Where will PowerPoint go if it just continues down its current evolutionary path? Whereas if you take a different team and say, well, how would you reinvent PowerPoint for the web, and take it down the revolutionary path, starting with a minimum viable product that does a small subset of what you want it to do, and then you evolve it from there. It means that they can go to market with something rather than wait till somebody else does exactly the same and they lose, they're forced to run under their feet.
I also think if you think about the millennials, you know, I don't think now millennials who are using all this online and, you know, interaction, everything's quick, now. I can't imagine a lot of millennials sitting with a PowerPoint and taking that time and effort, you know, unless they're in the actual stream where they have to do that. I can't imagine they'd want to sit at a PowerPoint presentation. So I think whether they're thinking that way, you know, of millennials coming in and just wanting everything fast, because that's how they work. They don't pick up the phone these days. Everything's got to be on that screen, whichever device they're using. So I guess Sway would really fit with them in they can just quickly create a presentation to show what they were talking about, and it'd just be like that. Whereas,
it reminds me of Wix and GoDaddy, HTML5 website builder, so you just kind of drag and drop that kind of area, and you don't really need to have the website building.
Yeah, and you don't need to have like a presentation background. So for me, I never looked too much into PowerPoint. So for me, to make PowerPoint look good took me a long time, and so I just give up. So I think for this, like you say, it's user friendly. But if you're used to using PowerPoint,
I don't actually use PowerPoint. I tend to use Present for that big.
Okay, yeah. Oh, so you're comparing it to probably Prezi?
No, I'm not actually. I mean, I'm just being honest. I think.
Yeah. No, it's good.
Really basic.
Yeah.
I'd get frustrated with its limitations.
Yeah,
but I can see how it could be very useful for you. Like you've got 12 bullet points and you want to tell a story very quickly, and you can have something very visual in 15 minutes. Yeah. Which is something I probably would use it for.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And then anybody wherever they are in the world can see it, no matter if they're on their phone, their laptop, whatever.
So is that the message then? It's horses for courses.
I'd say so. I'd say but that's the way of the world, isn't it? There's always something that'll suit you and something that'll suit me, and it's not always the same thing, but it gets us to the same goal. So I guess
try it out and give it a go.
Definitely have a go. Yeah.
I think when I read something like it will design it for you. Will take the design element out and this that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think the danger with it as well, it's got such a limited palette.
Yeah.
And you know, in a world of the web, you know, where you're trying to identify yourself as your brand, your body, you could wind up with everyone's presentations almost looking identical.
Well, maybe they're reacting to, you know, that stat that's often quoted that, you know, nobody uses more than 20% of any application. So, you know, if they actually put something together where in fact you're using a considerably higher proportion of what it can do.
Well, I read about something about presentations quite a long time ago now. It was the 10-20-30 rule. Has anybody heard of that? It should be like 10 slides. You shouldn't spend more than 20 minutes on one slide, and the font should be no smaller than 30 on a slide. And I think Sway is good for, if you think of the 10-20-30 rule, it possibly would be good on that end. Because, you know, PowerPoint, we've all been to the presentation when you can see it's like 1 of 45 and you know, oh, and they've just spent half an hour on one and you're going, oh, like that. And then you think, you know, it's a great presentation, but you can just see that it's, and then you get these really small pixels. So yeah, maybe something like that. I mean, it just says here, Sway seems to take a natural evolutionary step forward into an increasingly connected world. So I think the main, but go ahead and look at it, I think the main thing is that it is anytime, anywhere, any device. I think that's what it's giving you. And quick, cost-effective presentations without much skill. You don't need to have much skill.
You can just get it from the App Store for free.
It's on Office 365, or you can go to sway.com, or there's Windows 10 desktop app as well. But like say, you can't download, you can't export anything to your machine. It's all online, which I do find a little bit frustrating. I don't know why, because we're always connected. But I think it's just a mindset that I've always been able to put things on my computer. So it's just getting used to that.
You feel like it's yours until it's on your...
That's it. There is a bit of that, isn't there? There's a bit of not having a physical file. Yeah. So yeah, I think we were coming to final thoughts then. So we've done uses, created one, imported, and then we embedded. So I showed you my SharePoint where you can embed. So you just take so in SharePoint, I don't know if any of you know SharePoint very well. What you do is you get it's a web part, and then you use the embed code and put it into the web part in SharePoint. But if you don't know SharePoint, that's fine. But it'd be a similar process for a web page. You just get the embed code of the Sway and then put it into. Yeah, so that's where you get your embed code for the Sway. If you wanted to use the Sway embed code, and it's normal, it's pretty standard that to get an embed code from anything, from YouTube or wherever. If you click on the share, you can get your embed code. So you can see there, get embed code. Obviously, this link here is what you'd copy to share it with people. So when you click on the share, that's copying that link, and then you'd maybe send it on an email or wherever.
The Sway backend allow you to set up, for example, a Sway profile of the business yourself and whatnot, and then you go in and you've got a list of, you know what I mean, like almost like.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the way to brand it would be like, say, just put a title card and then have everything else in the same section. Don't really use headings as such. Just use your text card for headings, and then because then that title would then come in on every page. So you'll have your branding kind of covered there. Or if you put it on a web page, like the guy said, your branding would be within the web page. And if you remix a couple of times, Sway usually brings in it'll kind of get a feel. So if you're using a company name throughout the Sway, it might pull that in at the top anyway and use it on every card with your logo. But if you wanted to brand it yourself and have that branding on every card, put it as the title and you just use one section.
Can you undo a remix?
Yeah. Yeah, so when we go to edit and then we remix, and then you can just undo there. Yeah, definitely undo, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think the last part of we embedded this way, and branding this way, like I say, put it as the title. And then final thoughts. I think we've had a lot of the thoughts on Sway. Yeah, what do you think, Roisin?
I think it's not going to replace PowerPoint anytime soon.
No.
Especially when we're doing training,
Yeah.
it can be quite content heavy.
Yeah.
It's quite technical.
Yeah.
So I think we need PowerPoint to do that.
Yeah.
But there's something that's quick, easy, very visual heavy.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, what might be good for you then is I've only got 10 minutes, sorry guys, is if we come to Office Mix. So Office Mix, quickly, I've realised I've really got to go because I've got to pick my daughter up, so I'm sorry about that. But with Office Mix, it's a download. So if you Google or Bing or Office Mix, and then you can add it in, it's just a quick install and it'll put it into PowerPoint. So it's a PowerPoint add-in. And what this brings to PowerPoint, let me go back to my Sway. Well, you can see, if you click on Mix, so you can do some slide recording, you can do some voiceover. You can even, so say you had, I don't know, a presentation for onboarding and you wanted the CEO to welcome the person every time. You can then go to the slide recording. He can be at his PC with the camera on him. He'll appear in this right-hand side here, and then he can talk over that slide, and then he can stop it at any time. So it's quite simple. It's just start there. Use slide recording, edit slide recording. Let's close that one. It should just be the record button, but I think it's because I'm on. No, I think it's because I'm on the. See that one. There. What I was on was I just input a quiz, because with Office Mix you can use quizzes, and I was on that slide. So now it's not a quiz. You can just merely press record and stop, and the guy could be talking, and you can do voiceover. If you don't want the video, that's fine. You can just do voiceover on the slide, if that's what you needed So you can just talk about that slide and it'll capture the voiceover. Like I said, you can add quizzes in. I just did something really quick. It's nasty because I didn't even spell everything right. You can just add quizzes. So if you want to do an onboarding or a presentation where you wanted some interaction, you can then put questions in. What did you think of this? Or I don't know what you might ask in a presentation. And what Office Mix has got is something called analytics. So you can see how many times Office Mix, when you publish the mix, it goes again into the cloud. So although you can see the PowerPoint presentation, you've got to publish the upload to Office Mix to get the analytics behind it. And then analytics will show you how many people looked at your presentation, how long they spent on each slide, how many people answered the questions, and it's got quite a good analytics behind it. So what Office Mix was really, really aimed at was teachers and instructors. So it was a way of flipping the classroom. So it was aimed at trying to get teachers to do their lessons online or instructors online, and that the person could go and listen to that outside of the classroom, and in the classroom it was practical and to talk about what was happening and what they didn't understand. So it was making time in the classroom or in the presentation or at the conference or whatever you're doing, it was making that time really time effective for the content rather than just turning up and then starting to learn. It was a way of being able to learn rather than lecturing, then go and doing your homework. It was more like do the homework and then come and listen to how we can, what you don't understand, any practical things we can do to show you better. And it was just kind of a classroom flip. So it was more practical stuff in the classroom rather than, but it was aimed at teachers initially, but now it's moving out. And I can see quite a big use for Office Mix. Like for market research, you can use quizzes. You could use those quizzes to get some market research. You could use it as a feedback. For conference events, you could use the Office Mix and take video and then put it on the slides. And what else have we got in? You've got screen recording. So you can record what you're doing on the screen. So if you wanted to show something to somebody or how to do something, or you had a video. You can then do the screen recording. It'll just, every time wherever you go on your screen while you're recording, it will show that on the Office Mix. It'll input it into the slide automatically. It's got the screenshot capability, which OneNote has, and the usual, but it's got clear screenshot snipping tool, whatever you use for your screenshots. This Office Mix has got it there, so you can just literally take a screenshot of where it shows you available windows that you've got open, so you can just literally take a screen clipping of whatever you've got open. You can insert video, you can export it to video, so you could create a video. Is that what somebody asked about Sway going to video? You could actually export Office Mix to a video, so it can just come as a video file. You could then update that on your website, so if you had the CEO talking about the latest, I don't know, profit margins or whatever, or latest sales, you could then upload that onto your intranet, and people could then see that. You can publish to Office 365 video. So again, Microsoft are pushing Office 365 as a anywhere, anytime product, any device. So everything really is starting to operate within Office 365 or compatibility with Office 365. Within Office 365 you have co-authoring, so you can co-author documents together. You can co-author Word. I think you can co-author PowerPoint, I'm not sure. Yeah, and so you can then work on it as a team together rather than one person trying to do this massive PowerPoint presentation. So with Office Mix, you could be doing a voiceover on one of the screens while the other person's updating another slide. A good thing about Office Mix, you're still going to get your notes on your PowerPoint. So if you wanted a bit of time out, you can stop the recording, gather your thoughts, have a look over your notes if you needed to just refresh your memory, start the recording again. Obviously, it's just going to be streamlined on the Office Mix, which is like any video. So I'm going to have to run off, but have a little go with Office Mix. Just download it, really quick, easy install onto PowerPoint, and have a little go. But if you want to take my email address down, it's yvonne@365muse.co.uk, and if you've got any questions or anything, just give me a shout. But there is a mix gallery as well, if you wanted to have a little look at the, I think if you just Office Mix Gallery, there's some examples in there, Office Mix Gallery. And that's probably more going to benefit you, I think, and that might make things a bit quicker with having the recordings and the screen capture, rather than having to do this, do that, and pop it into the Word and then copy it into PowerPoint. Yeah, so what do you think of Office Mix? I know it's been really quick, that's the only thing, so yeah. Are you going to have a go with that? Yeah? And then you're going to publish it up to Office Mix and then... Yeah, so to sign, obviously you just sign into Office Mix, and usually you can sign in with any of these accounts. So it depends what you want to do with it. So if you use it with work, if you've got a work Windows account, Office 365 account, or whatever, you can sign it. And if you just saw there, it was...
All your analytics, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, all your analytics would be in there. Yeah, I won't go into it because I've really got to shoot. But yeah, once you sign in, you'll see your analytics. And I did just a quick example with my husband. He answered the questions that I put on, and I could. It took about 5 minutes. It wasn't instant, but yeah, then I could see all the things he'd done or looked at and how long he'd spent on each slide, which was kind of good for if you put a presentation out to the business, you can then quickly see who's actually adopting, who's actually engaging, who's interested. You know, if you only get like 2 people looking at something that wasn't of interest, or you need to get a communication out to say, nobody's looked at this presentation, we can see. You know, it's big brotherish, but I think it's good from that perspective, because otherwise you're working on presentations and potentially you're not sure who's actually looking at them. So yeah, just going back to how to get it, you can either go to the Office Gallery like that and just get the Office Mix. That'll just click on the download, and you can just then, like I say, it was aimed at teachers and classroom, but now they can see a bigger picture. So it's worth having a little look. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm sorry about that last bit being so rushed, but I guess you're all a bit tired anyway. So yeah, have a little play, have a little look, and send me any nice presentations in Sway. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, nobody's.